Today we are going to make a mason jar candle craft. So what you'll need from the kit provided when you stop to pick one up is a mason jar, or if you're doing it from home, a mason jar. Glass paint or an enamel works the best. Even a spray paint would work as well. What I did is I cut a leaf pattern out of contact paper, some twine of your preference, rice, split pea, dried beans, kidney beans, any kind of bean like that that you want in the bottom of your jar to hold your candle. This jar has a battery operated candle, or you could do a tea candle. And then any supplies you'll need for your paint: paintbrush, some water to clean your brush, and some paper towels. So to get started, you want to pick the side of your jar that you want to put the leaf outline on. So if you like the front of the jar where it has the name, maybe you don't want to do it on that side. So I'm going to pick all the way on the back because there isn't a label. So like I said, you can draw your leaf out of contact paper. So you just want to remove the back sticky part so that you can stick your leaf onto your jar. And that might be the tricky part. There we go. And I had some old contact paper for your cabinet drawers with some ivy laying around, so I thought that would work perfect. That will work just fine. So peel the back off so it's sticky. You may find some stickers that already are the shape of a leaf that you could use. And then you want to center it to where you want your candle to fall. So I put this on this jar a little bit lower. So I'm going to put it down a little bit lower on the jar. And then you just want to space it out to where you want it. And just make sure you press down the edges really well. I'm just making sure I've got them all. And that's what the start of your jar is going to look like. Now at this point you could spray paint the jar if you want to use spray paint. I'm going to use glass paint. And you can make the paint on the jar as dark or as light or as thick as you'd like, whatever your preference. And you're just going to paint right over top of that leaf. Just want to make sure that you go both directions over your stencil so that you get right in those cracks without putting too much paint and getting it behind your contact paper. If you want to follow a pattern with your paintbrush and your paint strokes, you can follow straight down your jar. I'm going to keep the paint a little bit lighter just so that way it dries a little bit quicker and I can show you the end results a little bit faster. But you can put several coats of paint on your jar depending on your preference. Now I'm on the back side, going over the jar label. So you just want to make sure that you get into those cracks of the label and get all the, depending on how you want it to look. If you wanted to, you could spray paint your bottle or your jar or use the paint. And once you're finished, depending on how thick your paint is, maybe you want to take a little sandpaper and sand over top of the logo on the jar to have that stand out a little differently so it doesn't have the paint on it. You could do that. Okay, so we've got one coat. I'm going to go ahead and paint all the way up to the very top of the jar. Okay, so that is one coat. If you want to add a couple more, like I said, I'm just going to do one coat so that it'll dry so I can show you. Now once your jar is dry, move this over, then you would fill your jar with your beans, rice, split pea, dried, whatever your preference is to fill your jar with. And then you want to fill your jar depending on the level of your leaf outline. So you want to kind of bring it up a little bit so when it is burning or the battery is on for the candle, you can see it. So however many beans or rice that you would want in the jar for your candle to sit on. Let me see how much that is. A little bit more. Okay, so when your jar is completely dry and you have as many coats on it that you want, you may even want to, if you're using the enamel, just for extra dry time, you may want to allow the jar to dry overnight. If you're using a spray paint, it dries relatively quickly, so you might be able to do it a little faster. But I would suggest if you're using an enamel brush paint, you may want to let it dry overnight before you peel your sticker off, because it could pull your paint off. So you want to make sure that your jar is good and dry. Hopefully this won't pull the paint off and you'll get the idea. So my jar is still wet, but you'll see when you do take it off, it leaves your leaf outline. Adjust your beans to where you would like them. Place your candle in your jar. Spin this around here. And then you want to add that finishing touch with a little twine around the top. Twine, ribbon, whatever you would like to wrap around the top. I doubled it up to give it some extra. And I'm just snipping that loop that I have extra. So there's your twine wrapped around your jar, and that is your mason jar candle. I hope you enjoy the craft.